welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have another 10 pens that are currently inked up. So let's go through these left to right, and then we'll go through these in more detail, and then we'll do a writing sample. So left to right, we have a Scribo 2 in Cardinal Red, a Scribo 2 in Noble Green, a Scribo Feel in the grey-blue finish, a Scribo Feel in the blue-black finish, an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Arco Verde, an Armando Simone Club Extra Arco Brown, an Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande, a Visconti Manhattan Arco. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Arco Wild, and we have an Omas Milord Wild. So let's go into these pens in a little bit more detail. So we have here the Scribo 2, and this is in the Cardinal Red. This was a Right Here exclusive, and this really is a lovely, lovely red pen, and has a lot of chatoyance in it. It is unfortunately a resin pen. It's not a celluloid, but you can see here the size of my hand. It's actually a really nice pen, and for me, it's really about the writing experience. These have the Omas OM81 nibs on the pen, and this is a medium 14 karat gold flex nib, and it really writes quite nicely. So for me, it's really all about the writing experience. We have also the same Scribo 2, but this is in the Noble Green, and you can see here this chatoyance on this pen. So this has a lot more chatoyance than the red pen does. In terms of size and fit in my hand, it's actually really good. And again, it's a 14 karat gold medium flex nib, but that nib really writes lovely. So these Omas OM81 nibs, which Scribo are now using, they've bought the machinery, the tooling from Omas that went under, from Bock, and these nibs like a really nice wet ink. So I've got some wet inks in these pens. Then we have the Scribo Feel, and this is in the blue-grey finish, and this has not only the facets but also the hourglass effect between the cap and then the body. Some people don't like that. I don't have any issue with it. Initially I thought it might be a little bit uncomfortable to hold, but it's not. It's very comfortable. And again, these have the same Omas OM81 nibs, and this is a black nib, a ruthenium plated nib, and it's a 14 karat gold medium flex nib, and I do like these medium flex nibs. They write very, very well. And then we have this Scribo Feel in the blue-black, and it does have the same facets on there, which you can kind of see, but the colour kind of hides it also, so you don't quite see the facets as much as, say, on the grey pen. But again, feels really great in my hand, and it's got, this time, just a standard rhodium-plated nib. It's a 14 karat gold medium flex nib, and again it's the Omas OM81 nibs, and these nibs do write lovely. So these are really some of my favourite writing nibs. And then we have the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is the Arco Verde, and this is a pen that I do love writing with a lot. Again, for me, it's all about the writing experience. This is a heavy pen. This is a long pen. Very different, really, to the Scribos. But you can see here, it's a very good size. I don't need to post the cap. It has a Bock 18 karat gold medium nib on it by standard. You can't choose the nib width. It only comes in a medium. But it is a really, really wet writing nib, and it's termed the Magic Flex nib. I don't normally see a huge amount of flex out of these nibs, but they do have a little bit of flex, or a little bit of line variation, just not what you would perceive if you mentioned flex in the nib, in terms of the nib name. And then we have another Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is the Arco Brown. And again, I really do like these Arco material pens. They are really, really nice. So for me, this is, again, one of my prized pens. It writes very, very well. And you see in the size of my hand there. And the nib, again, it's an 18 karat gold medium Magic Flex nib, but this is in the rose gold finish, but this does write very nicely as well. So I'm glad I was able to pick that up. Try and get the Arco patterns to line up. It's always a problem because every Arco pen has a different way to align them. And then we have this Omas, and this is the Arte Italiana, and this is the Paragon Grande. And it's obviously in the Arco Brown finish as well. So this is the larger of the Paragon. And the Arte Italiana basically has this silver section. Now you're going to say, but that's gold. Well, yes, it is gold. It's gold plated or gold vermeil over silver. So it does add a bit of weight to the pen, and this is an Omas nib again, very similar really to the ones in the Scribo Fill and the Scribo 2. This is an 18 karat gold nib though, not a 14 karat gold, so it's not as bouncy or flexy, but it's a medium nib, and it's a nib that I do like writing with a lot. So that is another good pen that I have inked up at the moment. And I've gone back to inking up my Visconti, and this is the somewhat new Manhattan Arco as of 2019. And you can see there this material is really, really stunning. I'm really glad that I was able to pick this up when I did, because it really is a beautiful pen. And it's a power vac filler in the standard Visconti sort of terms. And you'll see here it's an 18 karat gold medium nib, and this, to be honest, actually writes more like a fine for me, and it's also quite a dry writer, but it's something that I've been getting used to, and probably I will use more on sort of paper that maybe isn't as sort of fountain pen friendly, because obviously we do get that from time to time, but again, this is a nice pen, and I do like how that one writes. And then also we have this Armando Simone Club, and this is the Bologna Extra Arco Wild. And again, this is another pen that I like. I love this wild or wild-sided material. It really is a nice material. If I zoom in a bit, you'll be able to see it here. It really is quite stunning. So this, for me, again, is another pen that I love having inked up. And then if I unscrew the cap, you can see there it's a very long pen. If I zoom into the nib, you'll see it's an 18 karat gold, and it's a medium Magic Flex nib, and it's rhodium plated. So again, that's another pen that I have inked up currently. And then I have a newer acquisition, and this is the Omas Milord in the Wild, and this has a lot more white or cream or ivory sort of colour on the pen. So if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see it here, a little bit more detail. It's actually quite nice, all these veins that run through the pen. And then in terms of the nib, it's another Omas nib, and it's got that ebonite feeder, and it's an 18 karat gold medium nib, rhodium plated. And if I zoom out, you can see there it's a little bit shorter in my hand compared to maybe the Bologna Extras from Armando Simone Club, but I like that pen. I like it a lot. So for me, that is a very, very good writing pen. So I think now let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen we have is a Scribo. So let's write with this. You'll see here it's quite a wet nib. So this is the Scribo 2 in the Cardinal red, and it is a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Ackerman Dutch Masters Scharlachen Van Jan Steen. And that is a lovely red, which I think actually matches the red of the pen quite nicely. We have another Scribo 2. And again, this is a very, very good wet writing nib. So it's a Scribo 2, and it's in the Noble Green, and it is a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in this one again is another Ackerman ink that I like a lot, and this is Ackerman Dutch Masters, and it's Van Hoyesums Sapgron, and that really is a sort of grassy green meadow colour. And then we have the Scribo Fill. And again, this is quite a wet nib, not as wet, I'd say, as the last two, but sometimes that can also be to do with the ink. So this is a Scribo Fill, and it's a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku, and it's Kiri Sami. And then we have another Scribo 2. And this one actually writes, I'd say, a lot more wetter. So this is a Scribo Fill, not a Scribo 2. And it is a medium 14 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Kujaku. And that is an ink that I'm really starting to like a lot. And then we have this lovely ASC. And again, these nibs write very, very wet. You can see there. So this is an ASC Bologna Extra Arco Verde in a medium 18 karat gold nib. It's also the Magic Flex nib. And then the ink in here is one of my also favourite Ackerman greens, which is Ackerman Bezuden Wood Gron. And I think that's a little bit more like Diamond Sherwood green. It's a nice dark green, and it's a green that I do like a lot. And then we have another ASC pen. And this, do an ink swatch. So this one isn't quite as wet as the other ASC, but this is an ASC Bologna Extra Arco Brown in the medium 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Akamon SBRE Brown. As you can see there, it's not quite as wet, but it's not far off though. And then we have this Omas. And I'm just going to show you really how different an ink can look depending on how wet the nib writes. So this is an Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in a medium 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is exactly the same ink, Akamon SBRE Brown. And this is normally the colour of ink that I would normally see in most pens, but in the ASC I get it in a very dark brown, almost like a Mont Blanc toffee brown that comes through. And then the next pen we have inked up here is a much finer nib, even though it's actually a medium nib. You can see here it's just very fine and very dry, and to be honest it's probably a little bit too fine for me, but I've been getting used to it. It's the Visconti Manhattan Arco, and it strangely is a medium nib. If this is a medium nib, this is an extra fine nib. It's not even a fine nib, but it's a nib that I've been getting used to a lot. And likewise I have that inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. So you can now actually see the same ink colour. We have it a very dark, almost toffee brown, a midpoint brown, and then a very light brown. And that's just based on the different pens or different nibs that the ink is in. So when you see an ink online, you see an ink swatch and you think, well, I really like that ink, and then you get it, you buy the ink, and then you realise actually it's not the ink that you wanted, then that's sometimes the reason behind it. So now we have this, so another ASC. And again, this is quite a wet writing nib. So it's an ASC Bologna Extra Wild, and it's a medium 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Akamon, and it is Deneweg Gron. And then we have an Omas Milord, and this is the last pen. And I have this inked up with a red ink because I don't have a lot of pens inked up with red inks at the moment. So this is an Omos Milord, and it is a wild, and it's a medium 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink is Lamy Red. So let's just go and run through these pens and inks once more. We have a Scribo 2 Cardinal Red with a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Ackerman Dutch Masters Scharlachen Van Jan Steen. A Scribo 2 Noble Green in a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Ackerman Dutch Masters Van Hoysem's Sap Gron. A Scribo Phil in a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot of Oshizuku Kirisami. Another Scribo Phil in a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot of Oshizuku Kujaku. An Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Arco Verde in a medium 18 karat gold Magic Flex nib, inked up with Ackerman Bezuden Woodgron. Another Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, but this is the Arco Brown, with a medium 18 karat gold Magic Flex nib, inked up with Ackerman SBRE Brown. An Omos Arte Italiana Paragon Grande with a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Ackerman SBRE Brown. And then a Visconti Manhattan Arco in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Ackerman SBRE Brown. And you can really, as I said earlier, see the difference here between these three browns. Very, very different. Then we have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Wild in a medium 18 karat gold Magic Flex nib, inked up with Ackerman Deniweg Gron. And an Omos Milord Wild in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Lamy Red. So there you have it. That's the currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.